This video covers another method of listing products on Amazon. One of the methods is going from Amazon, finding products there, and working backwards to find the best suppliers. This method involves starting at the supplier and moving towards Amazon. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go on a suppliers page here. So I'm going to pick Overstock. Again, you have all of your different categories here and your subcategories, so you can pick whichever you need. Okay, so I'm going to pick kitchen carts. Again, you'll notice over here on the left side, you have several filters to narrow your results. So you can pick the price range that you want, if there's a certain price range. If you want to go by colors or materials, you can. Brands, average customer reviews. So the one thing I always do is I come over here and I want reviews that are 4-star and up. Okay, so there's not many other filters I put, but again, you may. And I'm just going to start at the top. Okay, and I'm going to work my way. So when I click on the first one, okay, I end up on this page. So what I'm going to do first of all to start to see is if this is a do not list brand. So I come over onto my infringement sheet or do not list brand sheet and I just search to see if I can find it. Okay, and then I just go under I as well just to make sure if in case it was spelled differently or if something was wrong. So it's not on here. So I'm going to move on to the next part. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Amazon.com page. And there are two ways you can search. You can either search by the title. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that and search and see if something comes up, and it does, right? Or the other way you can search is by scrolling down and finding the model number, which is right, there is no model number. But other things you can usually do is search it by the model number. So you put in the model number like you do with Google Shopping, and you search it that way. So I'm just going to click on this to see. So this one is an undefined sales rank. So ideally we would want one that has a sales rank. So we most likely wouldn't list this product. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. Because we want a product that has reviews and has a sales rank. So I just go back and pick the second one. So I click on that. This is Baxton, right? So I'm just going to come over here and see if Baxton is under B, under our do not list. So it's always a very good practice just to come over here and make sure. So it's not. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the title and search it in Amazon over here and make sure we're under all departments. Okay. So we see that there's 3 of them that are very similar, right? The other thing we could do, if this one has a model number, right here, so we would just copy the model number and see if we can search that on Amazon. Okay, and that one comes up. So you saw that with the model number 1 came up, but with the title 3 came up. So if there was no model number on the suppliers page, what we would do is we would pick the one, first of all, that matches, and second of all, that has a rank and has reviews. So out of these 3, this one has reviews. So I would probably pick this one to begin with, but when you use the model number, that's the one it picks anyways. So I click on that, and first of all, I make sure about the sales rank. So the sales rank is really good. It's 4,785. So that is in our desired range. Then we also see that it has 4-star reviews, and quite a few, so that's another plus that we would like to keep. And it's not a private label. So if you come over here, there's actually 25 people selling it. So if I click on that, and I click on new, you can see there's a lot of competition. So we may not be competitive in this product, but I'm going to price it out to show you how it's done, to see if we're even competitive or not. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure if this is the same product. So look at the pictures to start. So the pictures seem to match, right? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the description. Okay, come back here. If I just scroll down a little bit, because we want to make sure it's not this one, right? For example, so I just scroll down here. So engineered wood, eco-friendly wood frame, wheeled legs with locking capacity, rack and towel bar, butcher block. So there you go, wine rack, towel bar, butcher block, countertop, and now the size. So if I just scroll down a little bit more, I can see the size. So it's 17, 41, 35, 17, 41, 35, right? So that's the overall dimensions. And then if you want the shelf dimensions, it says 16 by 14, 16 by 14 by 14. Okay, and left side drawer. Let's see if they have one over here for that. 14, 10, and 2.2. 14, 10, and so it's the exact same product. And I'm just going to verify the model number. So I'm just going to copy it and find it over here. And I can see the model number is down here. So I'm pretty confident it's the right product. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to price it out. So it's $257.99. So I go to my listing worksheet. Okay, so under source price, $257.99, and then the shipping cost. So let's come over here. Sorry, right here. And it says free shipping, right? So I'm pretty sure it's free shipping, but I always add to cart just to make sure if it is free shipping, and it does still say free. So I'm going to come over here and put 0. And to be able to compete in the top 3, so I compare all prices. I make sure I click new because I only want to compete against new. So to be in the top 3, we need to sell it for $272.10. So then I put in $272.10. And you see, if we list it at the $272.10, we're going to be in a loss of $49.28. So therefore, we won't be able to compete by being in the top 3 sellers. What we would have to list it for to make a profit, for example, would be more than $3.25, so almost $3.30, right? And even with $3.30, we're 6 cents loss. But just to give you an idea, if we were to do that, we would be on the 2nd or 3rd page, right? We'd be on the 2nd page. So the one thing you can do if you feel this is a good product is you see there's other sellers that have it for cheaper. So where are they getting it? So you can always Google shop. So I'm just going to do that over here. So I'll just open up my browser. Go to Google Shopping, and the reason for that is it may be cheaper elsewhere, and that's why there's other sellers. So it's always good to take that extra step. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back here and take the model number. And search it in here and just put cart. So you see that we have 2 options. This one is from eBay, but this one has over 50 stores. So if I click on that, and I go compare all 50 stores, okay, I scroll down to make sure I view all of them. Click on base price and it'll sort from the cheapest to the highest price. So if I note over here at Walmart, it's for $237.51, whereas at All Modern, it's $257, right? So that's almost a $20 difference. So I'm just going to click on this. Click on shop and see if we can if we price it out, how we would compete buying it from Walmart. So once I open it up, again, what I would do is I would do all the checks to make sure it's the same product. So I'm just going to go Control F to find out if the model number matches. Or I could just scroll down here as well. So the model number does match, right? Because the one that we have is right there as well. And we would, again, make sure that the sizes and everything match up. Okay? After we verify that, I'm going to price it out. So this one is sold and shipped by Walmart. We always want to list products that are sold by the supplier and not third-party sellers. Walmart is like Amazon, where sometimes down here it'll say it is sold by this person or some other store or some other marketplace with a different price. But we always want to make sure the one that we pick is always sold by Walmart. So it's $237.51. So I'm going to come back here, $237.51, and then shipping. So if you notice over here, it does say free shipping. But what I'm going to do is I'm still going to add to cart, always to make sure. I click on view cart, and again, this is a more expensive item, but if it was a cheaper item, always make sure there's one in cart no matter what. So this one only has one in cart, and shipping is still free. So I come back here and I put it's already $0. I scroll over, and the cheapest price again, or to be in the top 3, what we need to list it at is $272 and $10. So $272 and $10. So we'd still be in a loss of $27. So this would not be a product that we would list. And therefore we'd move on to the next one. Okay, so there's a few options for this one. So this has different color variations. I'm going to start off with the black. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the title. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure we're able to list it. So I come over into here, into my Do Not List sheet, and I find Ultra, right? So I go under A, okay, so it's not there. So I copy. I come over into Amazon and I paste it in here, the title. But again, you can see it says Home and Kitchen now. I'm going to change it to All Departments and search. And then we're going to see which product it is. So that's one way to do it, right? Just by using the title. Or see if there's a model number that you could use. Okay, so it's right there. So this one has no reviews, but when I did put the model number, there was one with reviews. So I'm just going to click on that to see if it's the exact same product. First thing I look at, the rank. So the rank is really, really good. It's 339. Okay. Next thing I look at is the reviews. So there are 4 out of 5 star reviews. Then I just compare the description of everything. So slim industrial design, fits any decor, it rolls, great utility cart, 29, 3 shelf unit for anything. So let's see. 4 casters, 2 of the 4 casters lock, 3 large shelves. The front is open for access. So let's see. So this one matches as well. 29, 16, 11. Let's see, 29, 16, 11. That's right. Okay. And then I'm going to verify the colors. Sorry, the pictures. Okay. So I'm pretty confident it's the same product. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can compete. I don't believe there's a model number in, oh, there's a model number right here. So the only thing that you'll notice is there's an X over here, which this one has been taken out, and it has a 3 instead of an X. So sometimes people change the model numbers, but if I change that to a 3, you see it comes up. So it may have been because of that, but everything else matches, so I'm pretty sure it's the same product. So let's price it out. This one's $52.99. And then it has free shipping, but again, you would add to cart. And you can see I already have something in the cart, so I'm going to remove this one for later And still, just with that one item, it still has free shipping. So I'm going to put in $0. I'm going to open up how many sellers there are, and this one's a pretty popular item, that's why it has quite a few. I'm going to roll down here, and the condition I'm going to pick is new because we're only competing against new. So to be in the top 3, I need to list it for $40.26. So you can see even our unit price is way above that, so we're probably not going to be listing this product or be able to compete. The one thing I'm going to point out over here is you have different variations of this color. So if you just click through here when you're on the price page, it'll actually take you through the different ones. Okay? So just like that. So I'm going to come back over here and see if there's another color that I can compete against. So there's white, teal, and black. So just looking at the prices that I did, I know I can't compete against any of them. The next thing I could do is I could copy the model number and I can just Google shop it to see if somebody else has it cheaper. So I'm just going to go back to Google Shopping. Type in the model number and just click on cart. So I can see there's 50 plus stores selling it. So I'm going to click on the title and go compare at the 50 stores. I scroll down, I want to view all 53, and I sort by base price to end up like that. So now I see Walmart is actually the cheapest, whereas Overstock was $52, right? So it's always good to come into Google Shop and compare the prices because otherwise you may be missing out on an awesome deal. So I click on this. Okay, and you can see over here at Walmart it's for $31.98, and they also have the 4 different colors. They even have red, but it's out of stock. So I'm just going to click on one of them to see. So the one that we were looking for was the teal one. Again, I'm going to check to see it says the price. It's shipped and sold by Walmart. It's not a third-party seller. This is what I meant by the third-party seller. So at the bottom it'll say what other sellers are selling them for and how much they are. But we always want to only list products that are shipped and sold by the actual supplier whose website we're on. So I'm just going to compare to make sure everything matches. And this is the model number that was showing up in Amazon when we were down here. Oh, we just picked teal again. Right? So it just may be a difference in model number between the two. But again, what I would do is I would verify everything. So the size is 29, 16, 11, right? So 29, 16, 11. And make sure everything else is the same as well. Okay. After everything is checked, I'm going to price it out. So it's $31.98. And now shipping. So I come back over here and I click on Add to Cart. And then I click on View Cart. So I'm not going to go by the free shipping over here. And the reason is the item that we just saw was $31.98 and this is $269. So if I scroll down, I can tell that there's one other item already in my cart. So I need to remove that. And look what happens to shipping now. So now there's a shipping charge of $5.99. So that's what I need to enter over here. And now going back to Amazon, if I go View All and New, to be able to compete, I need to be able to be in the top 3, I need to price it at $40.26. So I'm going to come over here and go $40.26 for my Amazon listing price, and with that I'll be in a loss of $6.55, right? But you could see that we're much closer to the top 3. To be able to list this product, we would have to list it for at least $46, right? Because if you listed it for $46, you would see you were getting closer to the profit margin. But we wouldn't just list it at $46 to get a positive number. Because if we list it at 46, we're not going to be in the top 3. So don't just increase the number of the Amazon listing price just to get the profit numbers that you want or are desired by your employer. You need to still make sure that this price that you pick needs to be in the top 3, and you need to have a positive profit. So I would not list this product. I'm just going to double check the other 3, what their prices are, and see if we can compete in one of those ones. And after this one, I'm just going to show you one that I've already found. So the black one's also $31.98. Now let's see what others are selling it for. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to actually list it to show you how to do it, because I think this one would be a good one. I'm just going to check the white. $37.14, so it's a little bit more expensive. Okay. So I'm going to list the black, but with this black one, I would be in the top 4. So the only reason I'm doing this is to show you, but I want to ideally be in just the top 3. But I'm going to list it just to show you how it's done. So I'm going to pick black. Okay, it's $31.98, so I know shipping is going to be the same as it was before. So even if I just add to cart, and I click on the 2 items and empty it of the teal one that we were using before, I'm going to get a new shipping cost. Okay, so it's $31.98 and $5.99. $31.98, $5.99. I need to list it for a minimum of $41.60, but I'm going to be negative. Now if I come over here again, the next one is $46.37. So I'm still negative, so I wouldn't list this product, right? Because I want to be in the top 3 only. So I'm just going to show you one that I've already found, just to show you how it works. So this product over here, so say I'm looking, and I come across this product, and I want to start looking at it on Amazon. So first of all, I'm going to pick whichever color I want. Okay, let's go with suede dark blue. Okay. So I can either do one of 2 things. I can copy this title, go into Amazon, make sure we're under all departments, paste the title and search it. Okay, and you see there's a ton of different options. Or the other thing I could do to narrow the search down is just scroll down and find my model number. And search that. So nothing comes up. So I'm going to go Ottoman. And that comes up. Okay, so you can see that the color that we're looking for isn't there, but there may be more options when we click on this, because it does say more buying choices. Between these 2, if I was to pick one, I would most likely list this one for 2 reasons. First of all, this one also says Vanderbilt, which is what it says over here, the tufted padded. The other reason I would pick this one is because this one has way more reviews than these ones, right? Because this one has 2 reviews, this one has 93. So the more reviews, the better. So I'm going to click on this one, and I can see that there's many different options here. Okay? And the sales rank is what we want. So the ones that we were looking at over here, it was the suede dark blue. So I'm just going to look for the microfiber suede dark blue. Okay, it should be that one. Or you can pick any other color that you want. So if I wanted to go with leather look navy, right? Let's do that one. So leather look navy, that's the one I want to list. So the first thing I would do is I would make sure if this is in our Do Not List brand sheet. So Epic Furnishings, I come over here, I go onto the Do Not List brand sheet, and I go under E to find Epic Furnishings. Okay, so it's not here. Second thing I would do is verify the sales rank, so it's 47,571. Okay, I click on restricted to find out if this product is restricted for me to list on Amazon or not. So it is not restricted, so this is something Amazon will allow me to sell, and it's something that the brand person will allow me to sell right now. Look at the reviews, so there's 4-star reviews that I would like. I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to check all the information. So storage ottoman with a lift top, child safety hinge. So I'm going to come here and look at the description. Storage ottoman with lift top and child safety hinge, optimal height for a comfortable footrest. So it doesn't say anything about that, which is okay. Dimensions 24, 24, 17. So 24, 24, 18. So that's not too different, right? It just depends on maybe they got it from a different supplier. Fabric interior 20, 20, and 6. 20, 20, and 6. Upholstered with clean, easy to clean, pet proof, kid proof, microfiber, suede, and leather looks. So this one's a leather one. Okay, let's see. Durable, kiln-dried hardwood, steel, and foam. This doesn't really say too much else, but I'm pretty sure it's the right product. It says right here, right? Tufted design, easy to clean, kid-proof, micro suede fiber or leather looks. And it says pet-proof as well. So comfortable footrest. So this is the exact same product. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to look at the model number. So the model number was OTTO24. OTTO24, and I think the LL navy just means leather look navy. So that's something that the person that listed the product added, just for them to know. Okay, but everything else matches. So I'm going to price it out. It's $130.04. So $130.04 shipping. I'm going to come over here and go add to cart. Now I have 2 products in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the cart, which I'm no longer using, and see if there's a shipping charge. So there's no shipping charge, so it's still free shipping, as you can see over here. So I'm going to come over here and put 0 for shipping. Now Amazon listing price. I'm going to scroll down here and go compare the 4 prices, and to be in the top 3, I need to be priced at $137.08. Okay, so I'm going to go $137.08, and with that, I would be a $24 loss. The next buyer is at $159.97, which would still put me at a $5 loss. So I wouldn't list this product. But there's nothing's telling me that I can't list one of the other variations if I can compete, right? So let's look at a different color. Let's maybe do leather look brown. Let's see over here. Leather look brown. So there's 2 leather look browns, right? Leather look, oh, this is leather look saddle and leather look brown. Those are the 2 different colors, okay. So let's do leather look saddle, right? The other thing we can do, because when you change the colors over here, or options over here, it doesn't really tell you what it is. So if I just want to scroll, I can actually see which one I'm looking at because the names usually pop up down here. Okay, so let's look for the leather look saddle. This is the chocolate brown. Doesn't really show. For the purposes of this video, we're going to pretend like it shows, just so I could show you how it's listed. Okay, this is the leather look saddle, right? So I'm just going to click on leather look saddle brown. It's after the leather look navy. So they're all over the place, kind of, actually. Oh, there we go, leather look saddle brown, right? So again, what I'm going to do to start off is I'm going to compare all of the information. So the seller's rank is still what we want. The reviews are still what we want. I click on restricted to see if I'm able to sell this on Amazon. And I see there's no restriction from Amazon, so definitely. The next thing I'm going to look for is to see if we are listing a do not list brand. But I know we aren't because we already checked Epic Furnishings. I would compare all the information again, which I already did, right? I would come over here to see if the model number matches, so Auto 24 LL Saddle. So I think it still says Auto 24, and then I just put Leather Look Saddle. The picture matches up, so I'm going to price this out. So it's $130.04 again, so that's what I have, $130.04. My shipping, I'm going to go Add to Cart. I'm going to remove this one. You can see which option it is. So it's leather look navy. I'm going to remove that one. So it's free shipping, right? So I'm going to come back here and put in $0. And then to compete and be in the top 4, let's see what I need to list it at. So Amazon has it listed at $103.28. And it's a new condition. So I can actually be in the top 3 no matter what I listed at. But when I say no matter what you listed at, doesn't mean you listed at something completely insane where no one's going to buy it at that price. So let's see. If I listed at $159, it's for $554. Let's see if I listed at $165. Okay, so when I listed at $169, I'm still in the top 2, but my profit is $2. So this would as a product I would list, and again, make this something that's not completely unreasonable to sell at. We've seen others were listed at $159, $160, so this is not completely unreasonable to sell at this price. So I'm going to list it at $160 or $170, and I know we still make a profit, okay? And then I would fill out the rest of the information. So the listing person would be myself. The date would be whatever the date is today, okay? Handling time. So that tells us how long we have to ship out the product. So if I look over here, you can put in, I usually just use 90210, and it says we're going to get it by the 15th. So today, for example, is the 7th, right? I should change this to the 7th. So today is the 7th of March. It says it arrives or is delivered by the 15th, right? So handling time-wise, if we put 4 days, we have till about 11th or 12th. We have till about the 11th or 12th to ship it out, and then it has to be delivered by Wednesday. So there's plenty of time, right? So we're going to put a handling time of 4 days. Merchant SKU, again, this is something that is going to be custom to your store that you work for and how they want you to do it, but I'm just going to show you an example of things that they can do. So you can put down an abbreviation for overstock so you know what you're looking at. So it could be OV, OST, OT, whatever they want to do, right? So this is just to give you an idea. And then what you're going to enter after is you can enter this number over here, right? Which is the item number on Overstock. You can enter this number over here, which is the item, sorry, this is the URL number, but you can enter the item number, right? And what you're looking for. So for example, what I would do is I would just go Overstock, I would put in the item number, and then I would put leather look saddle, right? So I know what I'm looking for. And again, maybe you have to put the date that you listed the item or your initials, so that will depend on how your employer decides to do it. For variations, I'm going to scroll up over here, and this is the one I'm going to enter. So leather look saddle brown, and I'm going to enter it exactly as is. So you can see my capitals are where it is over here, my spaces are where it is over here, but I don't add the dash with the price because I don't need to add that, but I need to enter the variation itself exactly as it is written over here with the same spaces and symbols and everything. So I enter that over here, ASIN number, I return to product information, make sure I have the right one selected. Then I'm going to copy the ASIN over here. So the URL source is from Amazon, right? For this, so make sure when you do that, you have this particular product or variation selected because the URL changes. I'm going to delete everything after the /, including the /, and you can see I still end up on that listing. So I copy that from Overstock. I'm going to copy the listing as well. From Overstock, no matter which one you choose, the URL remains the same. So I'm going to copy it, and that's why we have the listing name over there. Oops, I got it the other way. Okay, so I just changed it around. There we go. The price I'm going to list it at, my profit, my total charges, and over here, once it is checked to be listed, there would be a check mark over here. And if it's not, it's going to tell you, what the issues are, how you need to fix it, if it's highlighted, and if it's not checked and ready to be listed. And then what you can do after that is, again, go through all of them. These are all options that you have to work through to see if you can compete or not, because you've already compared the rest of the information. So checking if you can compete on each of these variations is not going to be a lot of work, right? Because you've compared all the information. You've checked the rank, you've checked the brand, you've seen if it's restricted, you've seen if it's on the do not list sheet, you've compared the description, so you've done everything. So just go through each of them. That's what I would do, and see if you can compete. So maybe you can get a couple of listings out of that. But if you do list another one of these, make sure the merchant SKU is not the same as this, right? It needs to be unique. So the item number may be the same when you pick a different color, for example. Let's see. The item number may not change. 8631. So the item number doesn't change, but you can add a little, a couple of another letters or words or numbers at the end for you to know that which one you're talking about. And just to make it unique, because every merchant SKU needs to be unique to a particular product. You cannot have it repeated. So that's what you do. So that's how you find out how to list from a supplier and work our way to find the product on Amazon, see if we can compete and list it. So always make sure you do that for all listings. So again, to see the do not list brand sheet, to make sure if we're restricted for each of them. I know a few I may not have checked in the beginning, but that's something that you need to check for every item that you do list. And just check everything else. So if you have any questions about this, always feel free to reach out, but this is the other method of listing. And always just Google shop to see if you can find it cheaper elsewhere, right? If someone else is selling it cheaper, or a third-party person selling it cheaper, that probably means that they can get it cheaper from somewhere that we don't know yet. So that is all. So again, if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.